Dr. Phil.
My son is 17 and he refuses to go to school.
I hate school. It makes me want to kill myself.
He'll get right up in front of my face. His face will get red and he'll just go like this. I'm going to hurt something. I'm going to hit something.
He's been gone for 3 months. Where'd he go?
We don't know.
How did he survive?
We don't know that either.
He's telling you that you're not a very good listener.
I can't take you anymore. You never understand anything.
I think he's right. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Well, I have a question for you. What do you do when your child, who is just months from turning 18, rages and refuses to go to school?
You're stupid. Tell him I don't want to go to school.
But you're 17. You need to go to school.
Mom, it is stressing me out. If you put me in school or call the cops, I'll kill myself.
Well, what about if they refuse to come home when you tell them, or even come home at all? And what do you do if you're convinced that they're smoking weed and lying to your face that they're not? Well, that's exactly what parents Linda and Chuck say they're up against with their son Mike, who refuses to take no for an answer, refuses to follow their rules, and refuses to grow up. Take a look.
My son Michael is 17 and he has gone off the rails.
Well, don't tell me I can drop out if I'm not going to be able to.
Michael refuses to go to school.
I can drop out with your permission.
But I'm not going to give you permission.
I should be dead right now.
Why should you be dead?
Because I hate school. It makes me want to kill myself.
Mike lies about everything. Where he's going, who he's with, about the color of the sky. Michael is smoking marijuana. In the very beginning, I went in his room and it stunk like skunk. He denied it. It's not good for your brain.
I stopped smoking marijuana. It's a prescription to help people with anxiety. You see one side of the story.
Michael at one time was extremely sweet, loving, but he became angry about everything.
Mom, it is stressing me out.
He will come right in front of us. You should let me do what I want to do. Oh, I'm so angry I could hit something right now. Michael got caught with a vape at school. He was suspended for 10 days. We also found them in his room. My son has every excuse in the book. It's not his. I was set up. Somebody gave it to me.
The principal had something against me, and she'd flip the whole situation on me. Some kid would get caught smoking weed at school, and she'd flip the whole situation on me and make like I look like smoked pot at school, even though I've never brought pot to school. I've never brought nicotine to school. I did bring a vape to school, but I never brought nicotine to school. When
I confront him, he tells me I'm crazy and I'm a psycho. It's tearing all of us apart.
If I need to blow up on someone, then I do it.
You don't care that you hurt other people.
Well, maybe it'll get them to understand that they're doing something wrong to me. But I can tell you right now, people are doing me wrong.
One of my greatest fears is that Mike is going to follow through on the threats that he's made when he's been angry. Hurting someone, maybe even killing someone. I'm afraid that he really has the potential to do that. It is really terrifying.
Okay, what's your theory about this? I mean, you've raised this child, you've seen him evolve, and then we've seen him in rage where he's yelling like a 2-year-old would. I mean, it doesn't make sense. There's no logic to what he's saying.
No.
He's just venting. What do you think's going on?
I wish I had the answer to that.
Well, and I know you don't, or you wouldn't be here.
Correct.
You would be using the answer and solving the problem. But you have to have some theory.
I think that he's very unhappy. I think that possibly this marijuana that he's been using, that he states he hasn't done in quite a while, I think that it's affected his brain.
You understand that marijuana on an undeveloped brain is not a good combination.
Absolutely not.
And the research is not fuzzy about that at all.
No, it's very direct.
It's very clear. I can give you 150 studies, literally 150 studies today that you can give to him. I'm sure he wouldn't bother to read them.
No, I'm sure.
He doesn't take no very well.
He does not take no at all.
But he doesn't take yes very well either. What does make him happy? Is there something you could do that he would say, life is great?
If I just let him do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, however he wants, and I give him money, he would probably be happy for a while anyway.
Do you really think so?
For a while. But I don't think that anything will really, truly make him happy.
What does he do for fun?
He doesn't do anything that I know of. He lays, when he's home, he's in bed, laying in bed, on his phone. He doesn't do chores. He has to go to hang out with his friends, and all of his friends are a lot older than he is. Yeah. I mean, he's 17, and he's hanging around with 20 to 25-year-old men that the majority of them have had criminal records. They've been in jail.
And you say that he'll yell at you and go off in these rages, and then when he's finished, he'll just stare at you in what you say is a creepy fashion.
Absolutely. He'll get right up in front of my face and he'll scream at me, and he's frailing his arms and he's going like this, and he has never raised a hand to hit me, but his face will get red and he'll just go like this. He says, I'm gonna hurt something, I'm gonna hit something, I'm gonna hurt something. And he'll go off into his room and he'll slam the door. And then he comes back out and he'll just stand right in front of us, exactly in front of us. And he'll just look at us and stare. And I'll say, Mike, why are you staring at me? What's going on, Mike? And then he might say, are you going to let me go? Are you going to let me do this? What's going on? You going to let me do this? Because I'm just going to go.
Okay. So joining us in the audience is Chuck, who's Mike's father and Linda's husband. Now, Chuck says he's not able to parent Mike because he's never home. So thanks for joining us. And I've asked her questions about theory, thoughts about triggers. Do you have a thought about this? And I understand it's difficult for you to talk because you're kind of on the cusp of throat surgery here, so I don't want to make you talk too much, but tell me what your thinking is.
It's just really hard to explain. The anger, I don't know where the anger comes from. And that's, when he gets like that, he's just like over the top.
He's against school, that you can't even get him to homeschool, right?
No.
How did you get from school to homeschool?
When he finished the 11th grade last year, he wanted to go to an alternative school that is in our area. And so he was accepted, and he was supposed to start there in September.
Right.
But he never went. He wasn't even home for 3 months. He left in June.
Okay, that brings me to the next point. So he never went to that school, so then you just defaulted to homeschool. But he's been gone for 3 months. Where'd he go?
We don't know.
How did he survive?
We don't know that either. We never saw him for about 3 months. I tried to contact him. He wouldn't respond to me. I begged him to please just let me know you're okay. Then when he finally did, he said, I have a job and I'm staying with my friend who lives close to where I'm working, and I'm just walking back and forth and I'm making all this money. And I would say, can you come home this weekend? Oh yeah, I can be home for 2 days. Well, then he'd call and say, or text, he doesn't call, text and say, oh, the dishwasher didn't show up today, so I got to work. Or, oh, they don't have enough help, so I have to work. We did not see him literally for 2 months.
Okay, but he survived.
He survived.
So you know that he can.
He can.
Somehow or another, when he's out on his own, he came back intact.
He did.
Okay, so that's an interesting thought. All right, we have to take a break. Next, we're going to meet Mike, who is adamant that it's his mother who needs help, not him. There's a point at which I agree with that. In fact, he says someone needs to, and I quote, smack her in the face with reality. Not sure I agree with that. We'll talk about all of this when we meet Mike after the break.
When I rage, I'll be like this. I've never held my fist up in a ball ever at a woman, so don't you ever say that. I would lie to them so I could go out and drink. I'd manipulate my parents. Sometimes you have to trick people into showing them that you really care about them.
And later, Mike says that when he was 13, he found out that Linda and Chuck were not his biological parents.
He said, well, who is my mother?
I just felt like I should have known or had to know.
Tomorrow. 2 out-of-control brothers
Lee has threatened to kill me, kill his teachers.
and the older sister who was put in charge.
Aiden hurt me really bad by killing my dog.
But where's Mom?
What were you doing instead of parenting?
I'd go out and have fun.
So you left it to a 14-year-old girl to handle it.
Yes.
Your house is on fire. Your family is imploding.
That's tomorrow. Then on Wednesday, they claim their mother and her husband are being catfished.
This is the first time we've done this where the guy was conning the husband and the wife.
He thinks this guy is real.
All new Dr. Phil. Wednesday.
Michael was taking Adderall on a daily basis.
It's my pill. I know when to take my Adderall. I know how my pills affect my body.
I went to check the bottle and found that there were pills that were missing. Michael must have taken them.
15 milligram Adderall is gonna hold me through the whole day. I need 30.
One of Mike's friends contacted me and said Michael was trading some kind of a pill to get weed. I confronted Michael and he told me, whoever told me that is a liar and they just want him to get in trouble. I felt like it was just another lie because they come so easy for him.
Well, Linda says she's at the end of her rope with her son Mike, who turns 18 in just 2 months. Mike says his mother triggers his rage, and he admits that he gets in her face because he says, quote, "It forces her to listen to me."
I'm almost 18, I'm almost an adult, so I don't like having my mom on my butt. We live in this terrible, trash place. Do you think I want to live here? No, I don't. I think this place is hell. My mom is crazy, legit, overbearing helicopter parent. My mom has accused me of being a bad kid and doing bad. And maybe me getting in your face will help you better understand my pain, because all I want you to do is understand my pain. I felt like my mom and dad weren't hearing me out. So as a way to kind of get their attention, I would lie. So I became an habitual liar.
He told this ridiculous story of how someone else broke into our house, put a chair in the middle of his room, and a marijuana hat on top of the chair. I'm pretty sure he was lying about that.
This was when I was into smoking weed hard and drinking hard, so I would lie to them so I could go out and drink. So I'd rely on weed and alcohol to numb the pain. One of my older friends, his dad grows pot legally. I'd come home smelling like pot sometimes because it's in their house, and my mom would instantly just assume that I was smoking. That's why I got so mad, is because assumption kills me. One night, I came out of the shower and my arm was kind of red, and my mom thought I was doing heroin. And I was like, well, you gotta be kidding me. That's just ridiculous. I definitely do manipulate my parents, but there's a fine line between manipulation and love. Sometimes you have to trick people into showing them that you really care about them. I have manipulated you guys. I'm not saying I haven't. When I rage, it definitely goes up. I'll be like this, or I'll get all up in her face. I've never hit my mother. I've never held my fist up in a ball ever at a woman. So don't you ever say that. I've never ever balled my fist up at a woman. Yes, I'm manipulative because I want you to feel my pain, and not in a bad way, but to understand my pain.
So how you doing?
Pretty good, how about you?
I'm all right. So you say they don't understand your pain.
Yes, sir.
Well, I want to. So tell me about it.
Well, it all starts with my mom just assuming I'm doing something, and that makes me very angry. I come home smelling like pot, as I talked about. My friend does grow medically. I just hate when my mom assumes things and doesn't let me explain. She just assumes before I can explain.
Did you tell your mom that there's nothing wrong with smoking weed at your age, neurologically, yes, that's okay?
Yes, I have.
And what do you base that on?
A lot of research that I've looked into, like Harvard and Yale.
I know those researchers at Harvard and Yale. I know the people that have written those articles, and they don't say that.
So maybe it's just people taking what was already written and just changing it up a little bit.
So you didn't read the articles, you read somebody talking about the articles.
Yes, but it would come from someone that previously, someone would write it, someone would read it, and then they'd write it based off their own thought. But they did bring in facts that those scientists had talked about.
Well, that's a good thing about science is there aren't versions of science. I mean, it's factual, and with an undeveloped brain, it does have adverse effects. It erodes motivation, hijacks the pleasure centers, erodes intellect, has a number of detrimental effects, puts you at risk for a number of other things. It's not in your best interest. Do you think you have the right to yell and scream and rage at your parents?
No.
Because I looked at a piece of tape that I don't think you've seen, and I would like you to look at and tell me what you think about it.
So what are we going to do about school?
I don't want to do school. We already agreed that I would do this.
You haven't tried homeschool.
I have.
You have?
I remember when I would sit on the table out there and I would do homeschooling and preschool and first grade and stuff. Don't tell me I didn't do homeschooling, because I did. Man, I can't take you anymore. You never understand anything. You heard me say that. I'll say it 1,000 more times because it's true. Everything, the homework, the anxiety, I can't do it anymore.
You need to go to school.
I'm not going to school. Delete that video. I'll call the cops right now and they'll come and remove it for you. I'm 17. I'm a known person. I could do that.
What's that about?
I was very angry, and my mom wasn't hearing me out. I was going through a lot. My friend just had committed suicide, so you know, it doesn't help being bullied, because that was the fact that's why he committed suicide, was because he was being bullied. So I just came home mad that day. I guess I just wanted her to understand my pain, because she hasn't. And you can tell when I'm not okay.
You're not okay most of the time.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Linda says her son Mike lies and refuses to take any accountability for his actions. Well, recently, when he was caught with a vape pen in his sock at school, Linda says he claims someone had set him up. So I want Mike to explain that when we come back.
I definitely told my mom that she needs to get hit with reality.
There's a lot of division between us.
When he's not there, it's very peaceful.
And later,
I said, Mom and Dad adopted you.
2 or 3 years ago, this came center stage for you.
As any other kid would, I got very concerned about it.
When the going gets tough.
What? Don't yell at me like that.
You don't have an anger problem. Well, that's a relief.
When life throws you a curve.
He lost their entire $1 million retirement fund, mostly on women. Women he met online, but never in person.
Sophie is mute. She was in an auto accident. April and I are engaged. This lady is Jane. Her and her daughter are now being held in captivity.
It's kind of like a soap opera, really.
One show.
My son, Oren, thinks he's a cyborg from the year 2050.
Has it all.
You say you don't want to tie yourself up with a job because if you have a job, you can't spread your message.
Correct. Our job is spreading the message.
I have a job and spread my message. I mean, it works for me.
Unpredictable stories.
Not only is she going to inherit her mother's overcrowded and messy mansion.
We're going up to the champagne room. If you can ride, why walk?
But it comes with a price. An older sister who lives in the basement.
It's not my responsibility to take care of Lori.
Lori has been bullied in school.
But she's 58.
Unbelievable outcomes.
Hundreds of couples targeted by an imposter in a fake adoption scandal.
Gabby told us that she was 15, she was pregnant with twin girls. She had hurt so many families.
It's now time to finally meet Gabby. You led them to believe that you had a baby.
I'm done.
It's Dr. Phil February.
The family dynamic in my house is strange.
And it's pretty toxic.
It's almost bipolar.
When Mike gets home, he does bring a high level of stress.
There's a lot of division between us.
When he's not there, it's very peaceful.
I definitely told my mom that she needs to get hit with reality.
When you get what you want, Mike, then you switch it from being in my face and screaming at me
to be loving and kind, and he wants to give you a hug and says, I love you.
My biggest fear is that he'll end up either hurting somebody or maybe even worse, dead.
So you would want her to be able to see things through your eyes.
Yes, sir.
To stand in your shoes and experience what you're experiencing.
Yes, sir.
But yet you say you lie and manipulate, which makes you a moving target.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to know who you are, where you are, whatever. So help me understand, because I'm like a really good listener.
Yeah.
We've raised 2 boys, so they've been through your age.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, you said she doesn't understand what you've been through, how things are different, and what your pain is. And you said you have panic attacks.
Yes, sir.
Describe a panic attack for me.
Can't breathe at all. You start shaking a lot. You don't remember much, and then after you're done having a panic attack or anxiety attack, you just feel like a zombie.
So it just washes you out. You're just like limp. And how often does that happen?
Not often. It's just when I'm put in like a really bad situation. Like obviously with me being harassed and threatened, that definitely gave me some anxiety and panic attacks because I didn't know how to react. And especially when this came all about, I wasn't having panic and anxiety attacks. It was like a thing that, you know, probably a year or 2 ago started happening because I was being fearful of my life.
So when you left for 2 months, where'd you go?
I went to a house in about 15 minutes. It was one of my friend's house. And,
Same town?
Yep. Or no, it's like 15 minutes away, but it's a different town. And I was living there because I felt like I was being judged at home. And when I lived with him, I lived with my friend, I wasn't having that same situation. I was happy.
Were you at his parents' house?
No, he doesn't live with his parents. He lives with a close friend, and he calls her Ma, and it's really not his ma, but just someone that has helped his family a lot.
So why'd you go back home?
I got kicked out of his house because the cops were watching it. There was someone that lived there that was a convicted felon that had a warrant, and I didn't know about any of this because I wasn't told. No one told me about this, and I also went back home because reality kind of hit me. It wasn't until a month ago that I've started spreading positive vibes everywhere, peace, love, and positivity, and that's what I've been trying to spread, and it's been hard because I want to make things right, and it just seems impossible.
Did you miss your mom and dad?
Yes, a lot.
So did a family secret revealed set Mike on a path that was self-destructive? We're going to find out about that after the break.
My dad told me I was adopted and I was about 12 or 13.
Michael's biological father was abusive to him at the age of 4 months old.
A new episode of Dr. Phil's true crime podcast, Twisted Love, bringing a murderer to justice.
The delicate dance between Mark Castellano and I teeters on the brink. What do you think happened to her?
I pray to God that she can come out of this.
Truth will out.
I had strong suspicions that he was hiding something.
I got a text message this morning from Mark.
It went too far.
Mystery and Murder. Analysis by Dr. Phil. Episodes 1 through 3 available now on Apple Podcast and Stitcher.
I know for a fact there's people out for me. I can tell you right now, it's just facts.
As far as everybody being against him, I think it is his perception.
As an example, my old teacher at my old school, every time I asked for help, they would give someone else easier help. I know for a fact that I was targeted. My parents know for a fact that I was targeted, and they can agree with me on that.
He never takes responsibility. It's the administration at school, it's the other kids, it's the teachers. Me as a parent, I'm out to get him.
Mike says that when he was 13, he found out that Linda and Chuck were not his biological parents. They're actually his grandparents. He says it was around this same time that he began to smoke, drink, and rebel.
My dad told me I was adopted and I was about 12 or 13. We were outside shooting hoops one day and I asked my father, why won't you tell me the name of my real dad? I think I deserve to know. And he goes, Mikey, I'm not telling you because of the things he did to you.
Michael's biological father was abusive to him at the age of 4 months old. He got angry and twisted his leg and caused a spiral fracture.
When I found out about the abuse, it did kind of freak me out, and I started having panic attacks, anxiety attacks. I would drink to numb the pain.
When we told the story to Michael about his abusive situation that he was in, he was angry.
I got diagnosed with PTSD and found out that a lot of that came from my biological father. I don't feel like my parents understand my PTSD.
Michael doesn't know the name or anything about his biological father because we believe still has the potential of not being a very good person.
His biological dad would be a bad person. I think in some way that has taken a toll on him.
I definitely am still angry about that whole situation with my parents not telling me who my real father is.
So you learned this when you were how old?
I was about 12 or 13. I can't pinpoint the exact date, but I was about 12 or 13.
He was 8 years old. I said, Mom and Dad adopted you. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, you didn't come from my belly. You were someone else's child, but we adopted you when you were 4 months old. And he said, well, who is my mother? And I told him that it was our daughter. And he said, oh, but you're my real mom and he's my real dad, right? And we said, yes. And he never brought it up again. Never.
And that's when he was 8.
He was 8.
2 or 3 years ago, this came center stage for you.
Yeah, because I was very, as any other kid would, I got very concerned about it. Knowing that I came from someone else, like, that's a pretty big deal. Like, that's me being born. It's not something that, it happens once in your lifetime. You're not gonna be born twice. So I just felt like I should have known or had to know.
I think that everybody looks at the world through a filter. None of us see the world through a completely clear lens. Nobody. Because we're all products of our learning history, right? For each of us, perception is reality. What we see, what we say to ourselves, what we believe, that is our reality. So therefore, if we're seeing the world as a hurtful place, if we're seeing the world as a threatening place, if we're seeing the world as a hostile environment, you got to really do a perception check and ask yourself, is it really that way, or is that my perception? We can really start getting some messages that cause us to react in a very unusual way when nobody else is seeing the world the way we do. I want to take a break. When I come back, I'm going to tell Mike what I think might be his perceptual distortions, if there are some, and what I think he can do about that, and what I think he could do about that in a very short period of time, because I think he has been given some serious misinformation. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil. She was in charge of her out-of-control brothers.
He took the dog, drowned it in the pool.
Yes.
But where's Mom?
I go out and have fun.
Your house is on fire.
That's tomorrow.
When Mike got to Los Angeles, he started to change his tune some. He now says he actually wants to go to school and probably couldn't pass a drug test. But his mother says this is all part of Mike's manipulation. I do think that you have some distorted perceptions and you're not being your own best friend. And I think you have an internal dialogue that's very scary. I think you say very scary things to yourself, and I think you have anxiety because you represent the world to yourself in a really scary way. And what you are seeing when you see rage from him is really not rage. Because I've said this many times, when you see anger from someone, it's nothing more than an outward manifestation of hurt, fear, frustration. So why does it express as anger? Because anger is the get them before they get me response. If you're angry, you go through life like this. You know, your dukes are up and you're protecting yourself. And so that's the safest emotion that they can perceive. But when I see you sitting on the bed yelling at your mother, saying things that are completely illogical, it just tells me that's a fear response. It's a frustration response. And I think you're selling yourself short. If this was happening to your best friend, and your best friend was going through life scared to death, what would you tell your best friend?
Suck it up.
I mean, you'd tell your best friend, believe in yourself, right? Come on. The question is, where does this family go from here? Where does Mike go from here? I have some very strong thoughts about that, and I'll tell you what they are next.
Do you need Dr. Phil's help? Text Phil to 88500 and share your story for a chance to appear on the show. Standard message and data rates may apply.
If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area and want to watch a live taping, visit drphil.com and click tickets. Tickets are free, and I hope to see you soon. What do you think about what I'm saying to Mike?
I like it.
Does it make sense to you?
It makes a lot of sense to me.
And do you hear him saying that he's telling you that you're not a very good listener?
I do hear him saying that.
Yeah, I think he's right. And I think the reason you're not a very good listener is because you're not 17. And so you don't know what's important to somebody that's 17, and so it's hard. You come in and say, how's your day? And by the time he answers, you're kind of on to something else when it might be really important to him at the time. And it's real hard for parents to listen to a kid say what's going on and not judge it instead of just hear it. Because you're a problem solver, right?
Yes.
You're a mom, you're maternal, you're a protector. You hear it and so you want to fix it.
That's true.
And sometimes he doesn't need it to be fixed, he just needs you to hear it. He needs you to be a soft place to fall. And when you start problem solving, then he feels like you're judging him. But here's what I think I would offer you the opportunity to do. I think it would really help you if you hit the reset button here. And I'll tell you what that looks like. There's a place that I think you deserve to have in your life. There's a working ranch that I know about called Turnabout. And I mean, this is a real working ranch. Real values are taught. They create real lasting change. And they combine therapy with academics and hard work. They work with horses. They work with all kinds of things outdoors. And they really work with students and kids that are struggling where they are to let them be very selfish and put themselves at the top of their list for a period of time and kind of get themselves recentered and back on track. And I'm willing to make that available to you. I don't want to do it to you, I want to do it with you. I think you deserve that chance to reset things for you. And I think you would absolutely love it. I think you would find yourself there. I think you would find your leadership there. I think you would find everything about you that you've lost. And I think in a short period of time, you would leave there and say, my life is back on track. And I'm willing to make that available as my gift to you if you're willing to lean into it and do it.
I would, sir.
What do you think?
I would. I will.
Fair enough?
Thank you.
I think you deserve it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay? All right. Coming up, we'll meet a mother of 4 who commutes 140 miles to work and says when she gets home and hears what's for dinner, she's got a major dining dilemma. Well, I've got a perfect solution for her and for you, actually, next.
When the going gets tough.
What? Don't yell at me like that.
You don't have an anger problem. Well, that's a relief.
When life throws you a curve.
He lost their entire $1 million retirement fund, mostly on women. Women he met online, but never in person.
Sophie is mute. She was in an auto accident. April and I are engaged. This lady is Jane. Her and her daughter are now being held in captivity.
It's kind of like a soap opera, really.
One show
My son Oren thinks he's a cyborg from the year 2050.
has it all.
You say you don't want to tie yourself up with a job because if you have a job, you can't spread your message.
Correct. Our job is spreading the message.
I have a job and spread my message. I mean, it works for me.
Unpredictable stories.
Not only is she going to inherit her mother's overcrowded and messy mansion,
We're going up to the champagne room. If you can ride, why walk?
but it comes with a price. An older sister who lives in the basement.
It's not my responsibility to take care of Lori.
Lori has been bullied in school.
But she's 58.
Unbelievable outcomes.
Hundreds of couples targeted by an imposter in a fake adoption scandal.
Gabby told us that she was 15, she was pregnant with twin girls. She had hurt so many families.
It's now time to finally meet Gabby. You led them to believe that you had a baby.
I'm done.
It's Dr. Phil February.
It's coming up on Dr. Phil. Visit our website and subscribe to our email newsletter. You'll get weekly updates, life strategies, and exclusive video that you won't find anywhere else.
Plus, on drphil.com, you can see sneak previews of upcoming shows. Log on today.
My next guest, Alicia, is a single mother with 4 children ranging in age from 4 to 13. She is also a midwife nurse who commutes 140 miles round trip to work every day. Now, Alicia says by the time she gets home, dinner is often fast food. She says she knows that's wrong, but that's what it is. And she wants to have a healthier alternative, but what's a mother to do? Take a look.
My biggest problem seems to be time. I have little of it. My life is so busy. I work long hours. I have a grueling commute, and I have to drop off and pick up all 4 kids at 3 different schools. How's your day, guys?
Good.
After I get the kids home, I am exhausted. Cooking is the last thing I want to do. What do you guys want for dinner? Food?
Broccoli, and broccoli. Pancakes. We're having salad.
When I'm feeding my children, I'm tired of dealing with the preteen attitude and the 4-year-old sassiness. I just don't have time to be a short order cook. All right, looks like we're having hot dogs tonight. It makes me feel disappointed in myself that I can't seem to pull it together when I know nutrition is important for them. I'd love an easy way to prepare healthy meals in a short amount of time on a budget. But I'm just doing the best I can.
Okay, Alicia is joining me now along with Brandy Malloy, spokesperson for Tiller & Hatch Frozen Meals. So welcome, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Alicia, when you have 4 children and very little time, what's been the biggest struggle?
For me, I really feel guilty about not being able to prepare healthy meals for my kids.
Well, I have great news for you, though, and it's about a brand new food company. Now, my son Jay has partnered with the incredibly talented singer and actress Jennifer Lopez and her fiance and former baseball player Alex Rodriguez to help solve this problem for families like yours. Take a look.
When you're part of a busy family, that time that we get to spend with the kids and sit down and have a good meal quickly is key. And that's what Tiller & Hatch provides. Good, nutritious meals, and we believe that it's everybody's right to have access to delicious, quality meals. This is the type of stuff I want the kids eating when we're not around. Not that they're having another grilled cheese or, you know, pizza.
And I know for us, the most important part of the day is family time. And to be able to do it where the 6 of us can sit down and each one of us can have a different meal, that's also pretty good.
Yeah, and do it in record time.
Now, Alicia, like you, Jennifer and Alex have 4 children between them, and of course, they're also very busy, so they know a thing or two about finding time for dinner and time for the family as well. So Tiller & Hatch frozen meals have made mealtime easy and, most importantly, healthy. So tell us about it, Brenda.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Tiller & Hatch, not only are they easy to prepare, they're super delicious.
We have a pressure cooker here, so let's cook and eat. Just tell us what we're doing, because I don't know anything about it.
This is really easy. So these are chef-developed recipes that are packed with plenty of vegetables. Every single bag feeds 4 to 5 people. Very simple. I'm just going to start by putting a 1.5 cups of water into my pressure cooker. Then I'm just gonna add both of my packets of flavoring.
You can do this, right?
Right. And then the entire bag of stew. Now this one right here is Louisiana stew. It's packed with chicken and pork andouille sausage, long grain rice, celery, red bell pepper, carrots, onion, and then you basically put it into the pressure cooker, and in less than 15 minutes, you have a wonderful meal, and it tastes like the meal has been simmering all day long.
All right, so Alicia, I imagine it would make your life a whole lot easier. All you had to do was like dump this stuff in here and go, right?
Right, a whole lot easier to have a meal for all 5 of us in 15 minutes.
I'll just pop that open. Oh, and you can just smell those Cajun spices, right? I have samples for both of y'all right here. You want to go ahead and try one?
Oh, hell yes.
Alicia and Dr.
Yeah.
You can see the okra in there.
Really good.
So over here, Dr. Phil, is the farfalle with marsala sauce and chicken.
Okay, got that. I can do that.
It has sun-dried tomatoes and mushroom in it. Up next we have coconut curry stew.
Yeah.
It has the sweet potato, the rice, the celery and cauliflower. The last one is our chicken tortilla stew. This is very much those Southwest-inspired flavors.
This is Texas here.
With the black beans,
Yeah.
the red bell pepper, corn.
So this all took 15 minutes apiece?
So easy. And each bag is only $12. So that's about $3 a serving.
What do you think?
It's healthy, it's easy to prepare, it's affordable. All 5 of us get fed for $12. It's the perfect solution to our dinner dilemma.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, all of the Tiller and Hatch frozen foods are available at Walmart, or you can save a trip to the store and order at tillerandhatch.com, and the frozen meals will be delivered right to your front door. And Brandy, you have a surprise for this one, right?
Yes, Alicia, we are going to give you a pressure cooker and a year's supply of Tiller and Hatch delicious and nutritious meals. Thank you.
Now you don't have to be guilty.
I don't have to be guilty.
All right, I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to Brandy Malloy and Tiller and Hatch, and a special thanks to Turnabout Ranch. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.